Say again? I just couldn't hear you. It was actually an old student of mine from 7, 8 years ago in physics that actually drew that on the whiteboard. And I took a snapshot of it, and that's what I ended up turning it into, yeah. Okay. Kai and Nick. Okay, let's get started, guys. Those at home can hear me? Give me a thumbs up from somebody so I know. All right, thank you, Grace. So today, here's the plan, right? We have our lab that we're going to start. In the other class, went really well, super successful, nicely done. They actually figured out a few quirky things that we kind of realized with that one, which helps out you guys. Now, there's only 5 people in the room right now. Most people are home actually right now. So for those at home, remember the idea behind this is to do it as close to what we're doing in here as possible, which is why I told you about it last class, so you could start acquiring those items that you might need. So I'm going to show you what I have for the class. Can they? Yeah, they can see the front. I'll show you what I brought for the class that's here, so you have an idea of what we're using. And then if you need to figure out what you're going to be using at home, if you haven't done so already, you can spend some of this time doing that and then collecting your data. So I'll show you what I've got here. So I brought in random things. We've got cardboard. Let me see if they can see. Let me lower this camera a little bit. Okay, perfect. So we've got this cardboard right here. Yeah, you can see, nice. Then I brought in a bunch of random PVC pipes in case you want to drop like a golf ball down here. This could be like your ramp in a sense, okay? Then I've got some random pieces of wood that could act as like a ramp here. This one happened to just be something from Science Club, I think, at some point. I don't remember. Then we've got cardstock, which is like heavy-duty paper. Cardstock will be very useful. When the bottom of the ramp hits the floor, you want a smooth transition. You don't want it to have an object roll, hit the floor, and then bounce. You want it to be a smooth transition from inclined to flat, okay? Can somebody on the home just say something like, say, hey, Mr. Howell, I want to see if I can hear you here.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. I wanted to make sure. Thank you for that. All right, so you're on the headset right now, not in the room, which is fine for this. So cardstock is just heavy-duty paper. It could be like it could be thin cardboard. It could be a postcard. It could be index cards, whatever you want to use at the bottom of your ramp so that it's a smooth transition. In addition to that, I bought a bunch of other pipes and stuff for them. So if you have something like this at home that's circular and you could fit a golf ball in it or a ping pong ball, this could be useful. We'll talk about safety and handling this in a minute in here. They're home, so I'm going to get them started. I've got tape measures here. You're going to need to use the tape measure that I sent you home with in the physics kit. If you don't have it for some reason, I recommend you get a ruler or a meter stick. I've got the tape that I sent you home with. You're probably going to need to attach it to a desk, your ramp. Scissors to cut down to what you need. Then I've got a couple different items here as far as spherical objects. Okay, I've got a baseball, a t-ball, a golf ball, a squishy softball, a ping pong looking kind of ball, or these are these practice golf balls, I guess, right? For hitting into the net. So any spherical object that will roll. Now I drew a diagram here on purpose so you guys can get an idea of what the plan is. So what you want to do is you want to set up one of your, you're going to do 2 inclined planes. You want to set up one of them on one side and the other on the other side so that they will meet. Okay, there we go. You're on me now. So eventually it's going to look like this at the bottom here. Okay, that's what the setup is going to look like. But you need to take your measurements separately. So when you're doing this, set up one of your ramps first. Let it roll down the ramp, and when it hits the ground is when you're going to start measuring. Now today we're going to learn that, and the other class figured this out, that you could just take one video of all your trials. You don't have to stop in between each trial. So you're going to drop the object off here. It's going to roll down your ramp. It's going to then roll across the floor. You're going to pick it back up. You're going to drop it again from the exact same height in the exact same scenario. You're going to do that 5 times on one of the ramps, which is why I started by drawing it like this. Okay, so this is one of your ramps. You're going to do it 5 times from a given height, H1, I'm calling that. Measuring the speed when it's on the flat floor. I put this here as like a desk. For those at home, a chair will work. Take a desk chair in the back of it and attach your ramp to that with some tape. Or if you want to, you can make something more fancy at home, you can, or a bunch of textbooks stacked up. I would recommend that the height of your ramp be at least 30 centimeters. Okay, it's a third of a meter. It's really not that far. 30 centimeters is about 1 foot. Okay, this is 30 centimeters, just so those can see the actual length, about the length of my forearm here. So the height of your ramp should be at least 30 centimeters, so you have enough incline to get it moving fast enough. Now, in between the two ramps, you want a meter in between them as a gap. Okay, a 1 meter gap between the two ramps. And what I mean by the two ramps, I mean where the ramp hits the floor, here and here, about a meter in between them. The second ramp should be slightly different than the first one. So notice I called the second ramp H2 as a height. So it should be slightly different in height, and the object could be different also. If you only have the same objects, that's fine at home. Don't worry. If you have 2 tennis balls, it's okay. But you need to vary the height you're starting from. Okay, so either the angle has to vary, or you literally start one further up on a ramp and you start one a little bit lower on the ramp and then let go. So one of them will move at one speed, one will move at a different speed. And your goal in this lab is to take your measurements of your 10 trials, 5 of them with one, 5 of them on the other ramp. Then you want to take, I put 2 to 3, right? 2 or 3 trials of dropping at the exact same time from the exact same heights you started with and measured from. So you cannot vary the starting height at any time. So when you're building these 2 ramps, you want to build them in such a way that they are actually going to meet. So I would probably build both ramps first. Test out one ramp, test out the other ramp, and then test them at the same time. Is that clear right now so far? Okay. Now, from home, any questions right now?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So it's 5 trials from one ramp, 5 trials from the other, and then what was it? You said 2
trials? I said like 2 or 3 trials of where they're going to meet in the middle. You could do another 5 there. I only said 2 or 3 to limit the number of trials you have to do, but you can do another 5, and that's fine. But my key here is this. You have to make sure that you have some sort of a measurement in the video frame. We're going to upload these to Pivot. You guys learned a lot more about Pivot as you did the lab the last couple of days. Some of you this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. Not here, but maybe some of the people that did it at 8 o'clock in the morning. Some people still have to do their Pivot lab. So in the Pivot lab, you need to have some sort of a measurement in the video frame. And then you're going to learn that there's one I call, it's like sample upload video is what it's called. You can upload your video to Pivot, and you could set a scale on there and say that this is equal to 30 centimeters, which is what I'm using right now. You can make your scale 50 centimeters, whatever you want to do, but do it something in centimeters, okay, not in inches. So you have your scale in the background, and when you upload it to Pivot, it's going to step you through the process. It's going to say, define the length of this object, and you put this line from here to here, and you define it as 50 centimeters. And then what it does is it creates a ruler based on your definition. And then you could use that ruler and put the ruler down and see how far does the object go on the ground, how much time did it take, distance divided by time, you get the speed that it takes, or the speed that it goes at. Now, the other thing I want to point out, with Pivot, because you're taking all of the video at once, you can upload one video at the end. And what you can do is, you can see like, okay, the first trial is about to happen on Pivot. It goes, it's moving down the ramp, pause. You pause when it gets to the floor, right? You have your ruler on Pivot set up. At this point when it hits the floor, what should you do to your stopwatch? Reset it so that the time is equal to 0 here. Then let it roll maybe 50 centimeters, whatever the number is that you want to choose each time. Let it roll the same distance and just measure the time it takes. That'll be your first trial. Then you keep going, keep hitting play in the video. The next trial will happen on your video. So take one continuous video of all the trials happening after each other, because if you take 15 different videos, you have to upload to Pivot 15 different times, and then set the ruler 15 different times. You don't want to do all that extra legwork. So Bridget Sisk is the one who thought about this. She and Altair were like, wait, we could take one long video and just do it all together. It was a genius idea, and I completely agree. So they, midway through, realized that it had to like kind of adjust. So I'm giving you guys a heads up ahead of time. I would not use video veneer for this. I think I also said you could use a program called JS Track. We had some issues with it the other day based on the type of video file you upload. So I think Pivot is the way to go, and the tools on it are phenomenal. The access you have for the data and stuff you can use is great. So I would highly recommend that. In the lab, your real goal is to figure out where they're going to meet mathematically. So if I know the speed of this one, and I know the speed of this one, and I know it's 1 meter, I could figure out, okay, where does this meet? Does it meet here? Does it meet here? Do they cross here? And when you drop them both at the same time, you might need somebody at home to help you, for those at home. Those in class, you guys are going to work in groups. But you're going to have to drop them at the same time. Okay, not drop, but release, I guess is the word I'm using here. What else? What else? Questions so far? Questions, Rebecca? So, yeah, so this ruler, I'll use this diagram up here because they can see it, could be anywhere in the figure. It does not matter where it is. Now, I'm telling you that you should have at least 1 meter between the bottom of your ramps. If it's too much, like 4 or 5 meters, they're going to slow down as they roll. So you don't want it to be too long of a gap. So I think 1 meter is reasonable. But when you're actually using your ruler in the video frame to set a scale, it does not matter where this is as long as it's in the video. So it could be here, it could be here, it could be here. It doesn't matter where this ruler is as long as you know how long you've pulled the ruler to. So when you're going to set a scale, you have to remember or write down, like I would probably do a 1/2 meter. This seems to be perfect. That's a 1/2 meter right there. I would have this in the background. So when I'm in Pivot, I could say, okay, this much pixels is equal to a 1/2 meter, and then the program does all the scaling for you with the pixelations, okay? But yeah, as far as this is concerned, I'd go with 1 meter from bottom to bottom, okay? And the height being like at least 30 centimeters, okay? At least this tall. It could be taller, and it could just come out a lot faster. Doesn't matter. Smooth transition when it hits the ground is important. Consistency from where you release is important. And just getting 5 trials of the first one, 5 of the next one, and then a couple of the last one. At home, some questions at home. Okay, so I'm going to stay obviously on the call the whole time with you guys at home, but I do want to set people up in the class for a little bit, which takes a little bit of discussion about safety right now. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking to them. So when I come back to the computer, I'll let you guys know, but it'll probably be in like 2 or 3 minutes. So those at home, try to do the same thing we're doing. Get your ramp set up, acquire the objects you're going to roll, and have your video camera set up so it's ready to go as well. Okay, so for those here, this is what we need to do. We need to be just careful about things we touch. So what I did in the other class was anybody that used cardstock or cardboard, we just threw it out afterward, recycled it. Any of the plastic pipes or this stuff, we actually wiped down with the Clorox wipe and stuff after we were done. Any of the objects you use, any of the tape measure you use have all been wiped down at the end of that class. So this is all clean, and I hand sanitized before I left the office just now on purpose. So I mean, everything in here is clean to use. There's tape. There are a couple sets of scissors in here if you want to cut, some tape measures, small objects, large objects, you can kind of choose what you want to. My thought would be to mix it up and randomize you. There are 5, so we can really just do 3 and 2. I would like it to not be like boys and girls because I don't think that is the way society should work. I think you should intermingle. So I'm going to mix you up into some and some. It really doesn't matter. Pick a number from 1 through 3. 2. Okay, so you're going to be with 2 of the other girls. So you with Rebecca and Sarah, Ina and Grant. Okay, so I want you to work together, work with your partner. Here's my thought. In the other class, we had to move a lot of stuff, but here there's not much. There's a lot of space here. So if one group wants to work from here to the garbage can, you could use the garbage can as one of your things, or bring a chair over. If another group wants to work from here to the wall or over there, you can do that as well. We could also slide the desk over. That's another option, which we could easily do. You guys want to work right here also? Okay. So that should be more than enough space for you. I would use the edge of the desk and the edge of that desk, okay? Objects are here to use. Other things are here. Those at home, I'll be there in a minute to take any questions. I'm just getting them set up. We're making sure our mask stays on. We're not touching each other. Mask stays on, not touching each other or mask right now, and we're going to wash our hands at the end. I will tell you if you definitely need them. So for this lab, I've said to you guys, like, hey, try to gather supplies or think about how you would do it. I happen to have all this stuff, so I thought I might as well grab it for you. But if you need those bags, I'll specifically tell you to bring your kit in with you, okay? And the balls in here, or the marbles, or whatever, the marble and the wooden ball, they're probably a little bit too small to even pick up on the camera. So you might have problems with that, which is why I brought these different size ones, okay? So,
Mr. Howell,
yes, go ahead.
you want this measured in centimeters, correct?
Yeah, I would do everything in centimeters or meters. I would
Okay.
not use inches or feet.
Okay.
And for those at home, again, some people did not submit their pivot lab. So if you forgot to do it or if you didn't do it, make sure to get that in. Uh-huh. So we're on the second topic. It's called kinematics. So do it tonight. It's all right. It's called 1D kinematics. Okay, so get that in when you get a chance. I'm going to try to start using that assignments thing. Somebody said that works really well and it links it to your calendar. Yeah.
Howell?
That's why in the beginning of the year I was like, oh, should I go by topics or go by the other thing? But I think what I'm going to use is assignments for homework. And then the topics will contain all the notes and the other stuff. Okay, I'll try to switch that up at some point this weekend. But for now, know to look in the topic at least, okay? Because I haven't done it yet. I haven't set it up. I have to figure out how it works. Go ahead, Michaela.
For the lab that was due yesterday, is there like any specific like submit button, or is it just like you save it at the end and then it?
No, that's it. You just keep hitting save as you progress through. Every time you save in these pivot labs, it locks the section you did so that you can't go back and edit, because likely there will be a later section that will give you the answer. So like if you noticed yesterday, you had to predict which billiard ball would go fastest or win, right? The race.
Yeah.
So it locked it afterwards, because if not, you could go to the next section, see what the answer is, and then go back, right? So
Yeah.
when you hit save, or when you hit like at the end of each section, you hit save, I guess, right? Is that the button?
Yeah.
That pretty much acts as a submission, you know? Now, if you only do 4
Okay.
parts of it and I go to grade it, it'll still be allowing me to grade it. It'll be as if it's submitted and the last section would just be empty then, no. So there's
Okay.
an actual submit button, actually, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think John actually said the same thing, Nambirus. He sent me an email about it yesterday. So those at home, if you want opinion or my opinion or advice, I can see most of you right now. So let me know, and I'm happy to just give you my opinion. If you're like, oh, is this a good setup? How does this work? But just chime in and give me a holler.
I have a question. So
Yeah,
is
Mary, go
the
for it.
tape measure that you gave us, is that in centimeters, like the smaller one?
The bottom one should say centimeters. I think it's actually, is it not labeled?
I don't know. I know it says like it has an M, but I don't know if it's centimeters.
Ah, okay. So the M stands for the fact that it's metric. 3 meters is the length. See the 3M you're seeing there?
Yeah.
And then the 10 feet is the other one. But yes, those are centimeters. Each one is the marking of a centimeter.
Okay, and so it has to be 30 centimeters tall?
I would say at least. There's not an exact height. And you want both heights to be different, actually. So I would say at least 30 centimeters so that you have enough velocity as it comes down that ramp and goes onto the flat floor.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Howell?
Hi, Jid.
And the length of the cardboard, like the ramp itself, is supposed to be different, right?
Yeah, I mean, if your height is different, likely your ramps will be different length also, and that's fine. Remember, you're not measuring any velocities on the ramp. It's only when it reaches the floor that you start taking your data in a sense, you know?
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Nice. Try to make them significantly different in height, right? The ramps, I'm saying. Try to make them different heights. So you have one about halfway up these markings, the other one's a little bit lower on that side. Yeah, that's. And you could also, if you want to make it really significant, just raise this one up a little bit further and pull that back. Okay? And your camera eventually is going to be like on the floor, right? Because all you care about is when it's rolling. You don't care about coming down the ramp at all. So your camera on the floor here, and just hit record, and then take all your trials in one long video. Here you go. Oh, you go? Okay. Here. Little holster for it. No, this is just the holding thing. The actual tape is in here. And then you can lock it. Yeah. So I was just saying to them that you want to probably set up your video camera. You can use your iPad, I assume, one of your iPads. You probably want to set it up on the ground so that when it's viewing it, you can see the marble or the, what are you guys using, a softball or baseball, whatever you're using? Whichever object you choose, yeah. So you can see it on the ground. It does not matter to see it on the ramp at all. All that matters is its speed when it's on the ground, okay? I mean, I would probably, are you guys gonna put your other ramp over here, I guess, right? So I would probably set the camera up maybe like back here so it can view and get the entire viewing screen. Remember, variable heights. If one is 30, make the other one taller or shorter. Absolutely. No, you don't need to see the numbers, but you need to have the tape in the picture. So like here, this is fine. Where's your camera? Over here? So that's perfect like that. Like that is perfectly fine because look, when you get to upload it to Pivot, it's going to say set a scale, right? And then it's going to give you like a little line segment tool. You're going to place, listen, you're going to place the line segment from one end to the other on Pivot. And then you're going to say that value of length is equal to 50 centimeters. And what that will do is that it will allow the program to do all the calculations to make you a little ruler that's customized for your video. You know the ruler you guys used yesterday? That ruler was customized for that video with the billiards. You're now doing the same thing for yourself. Does that make sense? Okay, so as long as it's in the video. Hey, those at home, don't forget, you gotta have your ruler or your tape measure somewhere in the video so that when you upload it to Pivot, it knows what a half a meter is or what a meter is. Okay, so if I can give you, maybe I can zoom in with the camera on. Let's see if this works. Wrong way. Tristan, could I ask you for a moment just to slide that way? I'm going to try and zoom in on something. If I can, I don't know. Okay, so those at home, if you want to take a look at the camera where I'm zooming in right now, I'm zooming in on Ina and Grant, and they've got their ramp set up on the side, and notice in the very middle, they've got that ruler there. Ina's moving it right now. I think, just Rebecca, slide over just a little bit. Yeah, you're like, that's okay. I'm just trying to get them to say, okay. So that ruler that's there is right in the video frame. So the ball or the marble is going to come down this ramp and go past the ruler, and they're setting up their camera over here so that the camera can take a video with the ruler in the background. Okay, if that's not clear, please ask me, and I'll try to explain a little bit better.
Mr. Howell?
Yeah.
I have a question. So as of right now, I have, you could see this, I have like 30, and then that's my ramp. So the books are 30 centimeters, and then that's the ramp.
Okay.
And then over here is the books are 40 centimeters, that's the ramp. And now I'm assuming that this is much more than a meter.
That's a fine distance. As long as you can back up, Jaden, with your camera and eventually get the entire thing in the frame, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I get it.
You want to be able to get from like the end of one ramp to the end of the other ramp in the camera frame when you're recording it so you can see it all happening.
Oh, so like that would be fine right there.
Yeah, and you're going to want to probably have your camera stationary. So whether you set it up on the ground or use your iPad on the stand, whatever it's in, have that stationary on the ground view. So you can like imagine you were literally on the ground like this with your camera. You can't see me, can you? I'm making weird faces and you guys can't see me. Hold on. All right, I'm right here. Okay. So imagine the camera, like if this is the ground right here, the camera would be set right on the ground so it could see. Yeah, like that. Exactly. But then
yeah, like
obviously
this.
Perpendicular. Yeah, and try to get it from a view where like, you know, your phone is parallel to the path the ball will take. Think about that. So rotate it a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it would
exactly
have to
like
be
that,
closer.
Jaden. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to figure out so that you have the ruler in the frame and you have the bottom of the ramp to the other bottom of the ramp also in the frame. Little half pipe, right? Be careful of the tape measure. That's okay. So can I ask though? These look like the exact same starting height, guys. I mean, one thing you could do theoretically is start this one here. That's fine. And then on this one, start it up here. Just put a little X where you're going to start it. Don't even adjust it. It's all set, so don't worry. I would just say, like, put a little mark right here, and whenever you start the ball, just release from there. So when you're holding it, just kind of hold it there and release. Hold it there and release. Do it 5 times for this one. Then for this one, do the same thing but up here. Okay? And then the last one, you're both going to have to do it and, like, time it. Like 1, 2, 3, release. Yeah, to sync them up. 5 on one, 5 on the other, and then, like, 2 or 3 with them both going at the same time. Now, can I make a recommendation? I would recommend the camera over there because if you put the camera over here, you're going to have trouble seeing if it's on or not. So maybe do it like this. Yeah, I don't think is it going to be, yeah, perfect. It's on wheels. I was going to say it's not. Now remember, you need to make sure that the ruler's somewhere on here. And you got to get the whole thing in because you're going to do all of them with this camera view. Remember, 5, 5, and 3 all in one long video. So you're not going to want to move that after you do your first 5. So does that cover both? I don't think it does. Well, it looks like they're still setting up, so maybe you could ask them if you could. I mean, the other option is this. Look, you can take the video and then just rotate the camera while it's still recording. That's fine too. So if you want to rotate it for the second one, but are you going to be able to get the full thing in is my question. I would say that side, just untape the bottom and slide it forward. Leave this one the way it is. Yeah, and Ina, you let him know when it's in the camera view. So why don't you go back to the camera and see. How are we doing at home? Any questions? Any questions at home? There are more of you at home this week, it turns out, so I know there's a lot going on over there. You need a ruler in the video frame to set a scale. That's all you need. So this ruler could be here, it could be like that, it could be like that. It does not matter as long as you have a ruler and you want to write down what that length is later. Because when you upload this to Pivot later, you're going to want to know what this length is. Try again, guys, not to be touching hands, not to be handing things back and forth. Again, try not to go to your face with your hands right now. You're going to wash your hands right after you're done.
Mr. Howell,
Just the one, 5 times. Yes, go ahead.
is it possible for you to zoom in on someone in the class just so I can see, like, if
Yeah.
I'm doing it right?
Yeah, for sure. Hang on.
Thank you.
Sarah, I'm going to zoom in on you guys just so you know. So just skirt-wise, I'm saying that for now, okay? Okay. Before I did that, I wanted to let you know. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see this well, though, or not. Rebecca and Sarah, I'm zooming in your area. You guys are on camera. You see this? Okay? Okay. So they're about to drop it from one ramp and measure, and then their other ramp is set up over here. Maybe you could see actually Ina and, looks like, yeah, hold on. Ina and Grant's might be easier to see. So that's Ina and Grant. They've got 2 ramps set up over there. See the wall that's going back and forth? So they're only focusing on one ramp. So they're continuously dropping it from this ramp 5 times. Okay? And the video is recording it. They have their iPad set up somewhere on the ground over here. And the ruler is in the back there. Do you see the ruler back there? It looks like a little yellow tape measure. And then they're going to switch to the other ramp from a different height. And then they're going to drop from those same heights that they dropped, but simultaneously. The last one is the hardest. And those at home, you might need to ask a brother or sister to help now or even later, or your parents or somebody else if they're not home right now. You might have to just leave the setup the way it is and be like, listen, I just need you to help me real quick. And at the same time, you're going to drop both of them. Did they collide? Nice. So if they collide, that's fine. If they don't collide, don't worry. As long as they pass each other or collide is okay. So they're doing that right now. They're dropping. So they both dropped at the same time. And the question is, where do they meet?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I have the camera set up so it sees you guys so that those at home can see what's going on. Okay? No, I made sure it's not. You're good. So right now, you guys have all your trials done, right? So can we bring it over here and take a look? Yeah, let's just take a look at what it looks like. Okay. All right. Okay, trial 1. That's coming from the left side, right? That's what that was?
The pink.
Nice.
We used different colors.
Okay. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to measure the position change from here to wherever it goes, maybe in the freeze frame. You can step by step and have a distance set up using the ruler feature and pivot. You're going to set your scale by setting this equal to 50 centimeters. Oops, sorry about that.
Oh, did it?
I was going to say, I hope that didn't just, oh my God. And then I just want to go to the end. Yeah, I want to see the two ones coming together. Yeah, let's just see what it looked like. Nice. So clearly it's not at the midpoint. And that's what I want you to see. If you dropped them from the same height and they were exactly the same, where would they meet? Right at the midpoint, right? Because the same objects, same velocity. But clearly they're different velocities. So your goal in this lab is to be able to figure out mathematically where they'll meet and at the same time verify it with the simulation. So what I would do at this point is I would, let's see. Can you share that video with Ina? Is there a way to do that? Okay, I would start by doing that. And then what I would do if I were you guys is go to the Pivot website on your iPad and upload that video. The Pivot lab is called like sample video upload or something like that. You'll see it. It's listed there. And it steps you through the directions on how to set a scale. So why don't you guys set yourselves up. And while you're waiting for that to airdrop and send over, let's take this stuff down. This could all be folded up and recycled in that blue recycle bin right there. The tape measure and the golf balls and the tape and stuff, anything that's mine, just wipe down, okay? Put a little bit of spray on it right here, wipe it down. Be careful, please. In the other class, some people got this on there. This bleach, right? So this will ruin stuff. You sat on it? Yeah. So, and on my first day, I told my class, I was like, guys, I know we've been saying like spray the seats and leave it, but don't. Because as soon as someone sits in it, it's going to be bleach on their pants. And it's happened already, huh? Yeah. So yeah, when you spray down at the end of the period, wipe it down also. Don't leave it because somebody's going to come in unsuspectingly, just sit down and be like, ah. Yeah, today Nick's got it all over his pants. I saw it. Yeah. So the only thing about where you're standing right now, Sarah, is that you technically are going to be moving. So you kind of want that to be stationary. Like even if you're holding it, you're really moving. Well, no, you got room here now. So yeah, come all the way up here, and you can get the entire view. Yep. Yeah, try to it's more of like where you're touching it and stuff. You know what I mean? So like the tape measure itself, you probably didn't touch too much. It's probably the very end, and then the actual thing. Yeah. And then just leave it on this desk for a little while to dry off when you're done. Be careful. There's metal on it, right? So it could retract really quick.
Video upload analysis?
Yeah, video upload analysis. That's what it is.
Let's see.
So I would recommend reading. You're going to choose the file to upload there. See that? But I would recommend personally read about it a little bit first. Yeah, it's going to step you through what you're going to be doing.
Mr. Howell?
It's in the...
Yes. Go ahead, kid.
I have a quick question. So like my camera right there, that would be a good video frame?
Yeah, that's perfect. As long as you have the bottom of both ramps in there, and now you need some sort of a measurement tool on yours.
I have the ruler there, like next to the bottom of the one on the left. Would that be enough?
Yeah, but can you see the beginning and end? It's small on my screen. As long as you can see the beginning and the end of the ruler, can you?
Like, yeah.
Okay, then that's
It's
fine.
pretty
And what is
small
that
though,
distance? What length is the
Sorry?
ruler? Is it 12 feet? Is it 12 inches or is it, what is it?
It's 12 inches.
Okay, so that's the only thing you're gonna have to be concerned about. Like we want to use metric system, so maybe enter it as 30 centimeters, so you have a better estimate for that.
Okay, yeah. And then is there anything I have to do, like timing wise?
You just gotta make sure that it's being recorded the whole time it's rolling down and rolling across, and then you can analyze it afterward using Pivot when you upload. So at this point, it's just hit record, run 5 trials on one side, run 5 trials on the other side, and then run your 2 or 3 trials simultaneous.
Okay, got it.
And
Thank
out
you.
of curiosity, Jaden, do yours bounce when they hit the ground? It looks like you might need something to like make it a smoother transition, unless it seemed to be going well. Did you test it out?
I'll probably put paper there, but I didn't know if that was allowed.
Yeah, no, anything, whatever you want to use. So I told them to use like, we have card stock. So for you, that would be like an index card or a postcard, something like that,
Yeah,
smooth at the bottom, okay?
perfect. Thank you.
I see Julian with a hand. Go ahead, Julian.
All right, I was just wondering, is this a good setup here with the guitar and the cutting board there?
All right, so the cutting board is one of your ramps. I see that. Nice. I would also add a smoother transition at the bottom because it might hit the carpet and like bounce a little bit, and you don't want that bounce there. So maybe tilt the cutting board down a little bit so it's a little less steep, or add something at the bottom. I can see the guitar. Is it going to be able to roll off the guitar though? Is it rolling along the strings of
That's
the
what
guitar?
yeah, that's what I was gonna try and.
So maybe add something at the bottom of the guitar. What if you take like a paper cup and cut it in half? You might be able to put like a little half a cylinder at the bottom there, so the ball would roll right into that on the bottom of the guitar.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or a plastic cup or whatever you have at home that you don't mind cutting in half. Maybe not the cup I sent you home with. Okay. Oh, actually, you're getting yours next. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so no worries. But a cup, yeah, plastic cup or a paper cup cut in half.
All right.
Howell.
Yes, Olivia, go ahead.
I need to join the class in Pivot Interactive on my iPad, right? To upload the video.
Yes, I would.
What's the class key? I can't remember.
I
And I
shouldn't.
couldn't find it on my LS.
So I emailed it to you guys, but you already joined. You didn't you already join?
Yeah, I joined on my computer, so like now
Oh, no,
I just
no, it's the same login, same login. Just go to login now at
okay.
this point. Yeah, sorry. So just hit login and use your email and password that you set up last time from the computer.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Grant, when you upload that video, is it working from the iPad? It uploads properly? Nice. So Grant and Ina are are going through the upload process on Pivot right now. So if you have a question, please let me know when you're uploading stuff. I can still hear you guys that are home, but I'm going to bring some stuff next door real quick, some supplies. But if you have a question, just start talking. I'll hear you and I'll be able to respond. I might not be able to see you though, so I might have to come back in to see what you're saying if you're pointing to something. Guys, I'm going to bring some of these supplies next door just to get them back in the room. Okay, I'll be right back.
Mr. Howell,
Yes.
when I was doing my drops so I was on the 4th drop that I did.
Uh-huh.
It was like I have like a plastic container top. It fell over, so then I lost like the exact angle that I had on the 4th one. Should I just go with 4 or should I redo the whole thing?
Well, here's the question. Are you going to have to drop from that later anyway? Aren't you still going to have to drop them both, right, when they both fall?
Yeah. So yeah, okay.
So I think you're going to have to reset it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of want that to be a consistent height and angle every time, or else you're going to run into issues along the way, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm still here, those at home, so feel free to ask a question just in the hallway. Woo! No, but it caught my hand on the way in. I didn't think it was going to go that fast.
Oh, Mr. Howell,
Yep.
can I show you my ramp and like you say if it like is
Yeah,
fine? If I did
definitely,
it right
Michaela.
away?
Show me.
Okay. It's
You
kinda hard
guys
'cause I don't have
shared with
my-
each other, so you all have the video if you can, and then start to take the stuff apart, recycle whatever paper is good, and then anything that I'm keeping or we're keeping, just wipe down with a cloth before you put it back in that box.
I'm gonna take a picture of it
Yeah,
because
I would spray it and then wipe it down. So, yeah, any paper, any cardboard you could recycle, anything that's physical, like the tape measure, the objects, put those back in. Okay, Michaela, I'm here. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay, can you see this picture? Like, is that clear enough? And then there's
That
a
looks
tape
pretty
measure in the
good.
middle.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I would say I'm having trouble seeing it. Let me try and make you full screen. Hang on. I'm going to put you on as pinned video. Okay, now try. Go ahead. Show me that again.
You see that?
Okay, I see the one ramp on one side is a bit taller. I like it. Shorter one against the wall, and you got a tape measure in between, and that tape measure is set to what distance?
A meter.
Okay, yeah, it looks great.
Okay.
Hey, groups in here, you wrote down what your scale was, right? Oh, how long was the tape measure that was in your viewing point? You left it as a meter in the background? Oh, that's easy. Okay, so when you enter it into Pivot, it's going to ask you, set this distance with a little ruler, and you have to equal it to 1 meter. Show me if you have trouble when you get to that, okay?
Mr. Howell.
Yes, Jaden.
So all of the like measuring stuff and the timing stuff, that's not done here. That's done on Pivot.
Correct. So today, all you're doing is getting your data at least acquired. You're getting all your video recording done, and then you're starting to upload it to Pivot using, Grant, what was that called again? What's the name of it? The Pivot? Video upload analysis.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You might, Ina, have to split it into 2 smaller videos. That's possible. I don't know. Depending on the length of the video, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's probably still actually processing and uploading right now. So you might have to wait a little bit for it to actually work. If there's a save option, try to hit save somewhere. So just in case it doesn't lose it, Yeah. Yeah, go for it. And hey, one at a time, maybe use the bathroom and get the hands washed. Everybody here? You did already? Okay. So one at a time, though, yeah. So those at home, we just recognized or we just noticed that like Ina and Grant are still waiting for the video to upload. So if it's a really long video, it's possible you might have to like split it in half on your iPad and upload it as 2 separate times. I don't know, though. I know that Bridget and Altea did it, but they only did it for 1 trial earlier, and it uploaded fine. I don't think they ever sat through uploading like all 15 trials at once. I think this is, okay, so this is going here. Sarah, this is your tape then, right? Okay. I'm going to confuse that.
Mr. Howell,
Yes.
I used like 2 like sneaker balls as my like balls for the ramps, and they're showing up a little blurry frame by frame. So should I use different balls, or because you can still see where the center of it is, you just can't see like the edges to measure.
What did you use? Show me.
Like 2.
What are they called?
Sneaker balls.
Oh, yeah, sneaker balls. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, if they're a little bit blurry, I would try to find some consistency. Is the back only blurry, or is the whole thing kind of blurry?
Well, it's
Like,
kind
is
of
it
like,
the tail that's blurry?
no, it's like the front and the tail. Yeah. The whole thing.
So maybe, yeah, try to follow the center of the blur every time. Now,
Okay.
keep in mind, though, that in Pivot, you're only really measuring how far it went in a given time period. So maybe you start like, where it's kind of still visible in the beginning and when you can get it most visible at the end, and then measure that distance and the time.
Yeah.
If you did it with video vernier, which we've done in the past, you have to like plot the point and move with it. I think it's a little more cumbersome. This one hopefully becomes a little easier.
Mr. Howell,
Yeah.
for my individual trials for the when it's just one ramp, can I move the camera away from the other ramp so I can get the
Yes.
started ball? Okay.
Yeah, you can. Now, but keep in mind when you record them both being dropped at the same time, then you need everything in the camera frame at once.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Grant, go ahead.
Like right when it's like.
So the ruler can go anywhere. That's for you guys to decide. Now, but did you set a scale already? You did the process of setting a scale and stuff?
Oh, from inches to centimeters.
Like, look, this thing right here. Oh, it's okay. This thing right there, right? Isn't that the little measurement tool?
Oh, the calibration.
Yeah, so this is 50 cents. So you need to grab one end of the calibration tool. What is going on? It might be better on a desktop. It's possible, yeah. Why don't you turn the centimeter ruler off first? And now let's use this guy. Try to grab the end. It's only the end that really moves. Okay. Yeah, so can we turn the calibration tool off and then back on? Okay, I see. So we need that bottom left corner, right, somehow? Yeah, so look, his started like this on the screen, you know, that's normally how it starts. So can you reload the lab, or yeah, maybe that'll work. Don't know. This is new for me too. Okay, now grab the calibration tool. Well, let's look at it for a moment, just so we see what we're doing, okay? So once you have the calibration tool there, then you take the ends, right? You put it at one end there, put the other one at one end right there, and on the bottom you set the distance for that. So what was that distance that you guys had? 50.8 centimeters is what you were at? All right, so go ahead and type in 50.8. Oh, careful, 0.8. Okay. Now, what that does, you can now turn it off, is now you can like grab the ruler feature. We can grab the end. Let's make this a lot shorter because we don't need all of that. And look, so let's just make sure it's right. So this should be 50.8 centimeters, you said, right? Let's see. Well, that's 100, right? See, that's 100 centimeters, is that? So you're pretty much right, right? That's 50 right there? Yeah, and you're going to have to do some estimations with this along the way for sure. Maybe just re-upload the video altogether. I know it's annoying, but if you're stuck at that point, you might sit here for 10 minutes. Yeah, so you just have to wait for it to upload. Say again?
I've been trying to avoid like all week putting it down on the tables because like my last case felt really gross.
Well, they do the electrostatic spray on here. It's clean. It doesn't matter. Yeah, at the end of the day, they put this electrostatic spray that kills all these germs. That's what that film is that you've noticed. So anyway, what you can do, your question was where do you measure from, right? So you want to measure while it's rolling. So let's hit play and let's go frame by frame.
If you use the keyboard, you go frame by frame.
But you both have an iPad. I'm confused. Why is...
So when she's the keyboard connected, if she goes full screen with the keyboard, she can click on the arrows to go frame by frame, but it won't let me just go frame by frame.
Interesting. So those at home, people in the class are finding that it's a bit finicky when you load the video into Pivot from the iPad. So it's possible you might want to load the video into Pivot and then actually work on the lab on a computer. That might be a better solution. Do you hear what she's saying over there, guys? Or Grant is saying on an iPad, if you have a keyboard set up, you could use the arrow keys to go frame by frame after you've uploaded it. So they're having some issues when it comes to like playing around with the video on the iPad. So if you upload it to your Pivot account and you like save your work or hit save at the bottom and then log into your Pivot account from a computer, it'll still be there, the video. Does that make sense what I'm saying right now? Are you guys uploading right now? Is that what you're doing? That's fine. So I would upload one of them first, analyze that one, and then upload the other one after that and analyze that one. So just work on one of them for now. That's fine. But again, I don't know how nice the iPad is with the way it interacts with the tools in Pivot. So you might want to use a desktop or some sort of a computer for that. Guys, what were these desks like? We got to get them back to where they were. So this was here. Those middle ones, that one should slide over. Okay. And this is yours, Sarah, or this is mine? And okay. Okay. Okay, good. That's it. Yeah. So now grab one end. Yep. Exactly like that. And 50.8, and you want to write CM afterward, I think, right? We have to specify what it is. Hit X on that for now. That's 100, so that's 50. That's pretty reasonable. Again, you're gonna notice that your data is not gonna be super precise right now, okay?
Mr. Howell?
From when it hits the ground, you could start measuring then, or when it's already rolling, but not when it's on the ramp, you know. Sorry, Michaela, go ahead.
When we upload the video,
sorry.
it says like record frame rate and playback frame rate. Is there specific numbers we should put in?
Yeah, so the frame rate, guys, it asks you for the frame rate, right? It should just be 60 frames.
60
frames per second.
And what about the playback frame rate?
And then what about the playback? I think they're both, I think one is 60 and the other one was like 59.7 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so they're both, whatever number's closest to 60. At least this is what my AP students, I think, told me, that iPads take frame rate at 60 frames per second. I didn't actually look that up, but that was what they recommended, so I was like, okay. So are these desks together normally, guys? They're connected? Okay.
Mr. Howell?
Yeah.
What do I do after I have a graph on Pivot?
Okay, so you have, is this Del Franco talking right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a graph of position versus time is what you're saying, or?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you did that for one of the objects?
Yeah, but there's only one graph. Like, is there a way to get more graphs on Pivot?
Yeah, so your goal right now, Nick, is to figure out the speed of the object once it's on the ground. So once you figure out the speed, you could then just use the graph again for the other object.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to be submitting this through Pivot. You're going to be submitting this by writing about it. So this is not, we're just using Pivot to analyze the data.
Got it.
So the goal from Pivot is to get the velocity of both objects, and then to, using that velocity, approximate where they'll meet. And then in Pivot, you can actually see where they'll meet using the measurement system there, and then see if that's valid or not.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Guys, Nick just asked a good question. He said, once you use the graph feature in Pivot, what are you doing with it? Like besides that, like, because there's a couple objects. So what I was telling him was, you're really only using Pivot to figure out the velocity of each of the objects. So once you have one of them, you're going to measure how far it goes in a certain amount of time. You'll get a velocity. Do it 5 times. Then you can just average those 5 velocities. So you don't need the graph necessarily for this. It's not necessary to actually use the graph, but that is already loaded into it. So get the velocity of each ball and then estimate or try to figure out mathematically where they're going to meet in the middle. Did everybody wash their hands in here? Has everyone gone to the bathroom already? Yes, we're good? Okay. Sarah, don't forget this, please. Mm-hmm. For those at home, we're not done yet. We can still keep giving you help. The bell will probably ring, or they'll start moving soon. There's no bells, what am I saying? But they'll start moving soon, but I'm still on camera and on video with you guys. So you can just stay on video right now, and then we'll discuss it. I need like 5 minutes just because I'm at the end of class still. I still have kids in there. No, just all my supplies. I was in the other room returning.
Mr. Howell.
Yes, Jaden. No, Sean. That's Sean's voice. Sorry.
Does it make a difference if we record the video in slow-mo and have it run
I don't think it does. No. Somebody in the other class asked the same thing, but right now in slow-mo, I'm not sure if it's going to know the frame rate. So they had an issue with that.
I looked it
Go ahead,
up.
Sean. Sorry.
It's 120 frames per second.
That's what the slow-mo rate is?
Yeah.
Well, as long as it's an option on there and you can upload it and there's an option for 120 frames per second, which I think there is. I don't know what the playback rate means, really. You know, that second option where it's like 29.7 or 59.7?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's actually even referring to be honest. Check the MyOS page. I'm going to put a report guideline for you to follow, to like have an outline for your lab. Because remember, you're not submitting this on Pivot. You're going to be doing a write-up for it. Pivot is only being used to collect data, okay, to get the velocities as they're moving, okay? All right, check MLS. So Sean, if you want to try that out and let me know if it works well, I'm happy to like discuss it and see, but I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Yeah, it takes forever to upload, I think.
Yeah, the others in here said it did take a little while to upload, especially if it's one long video, but it's still better than uploading it 15 times, you know, and constantly rescaling every single time. So yeah, I would still do it as one long video and then just be patient and wait. You're welcome, guys. Is that someone's book? Come on, man. That's all right. I got you. Can you do me a favor and just put that chair back onto the desk before you leave? Anybody's pen? Okay. Well, now it belongs to the classroom, I guess. All right, so those at home, I got a couple more minutes if you have questions for me, and then I have a couple students waiting for me actually in the office right now. Are there any major questions? Can I let you know what my goal is for you from this point? Okay, so the goal is this. You use Pivot just to take the data, and then over the weekend, what I want you to do is to figure out, again, the estimation of where you think they're going to meet. At what point in between will they meet? And then on Pivot, you could actually set up the ruler and measure the exact point that they met and see how close your estimation was. So as far as a deliverable is concerned, my recommendation here would be to be able to present your data, know your velocities, have your calculations written out. You could do almost all this in Notability. And then maybe like a screenshot of when they're actually meeting with the ruler so that I can see your calculations, and then I can see a video or a screenshot of exactly when they actually hit together. I'm not on video, am I? Okay, you can't see me, whatever. But where they actually physically meet, right? So like a quick snapshot, you could freeze frame and take a print screen of when the objects are meeting with the ruler in Pivot, so I can see that they meet at like 60 centimeter mark or at the 80 centimeter mark. And then we're gonna be able to compare that to the calculation that you guys did to approximate where you think it would meet. I will tell you right now, it's not gonna be perfect. So if you think that it's gonna meet at 60 centimeters and it meets at like 65, that's okay. If it's way off, then there might be something up with your data, or there might be something up with the way you calculated the speeds of each object. So go back and look at the speeds that you calculated when the object was rolling freely. Aside from that, it's not going to be a formal lab write-up as far as like, you know, having all the procedure, having all the other stuff that I would normally do with conclusion also. More of an activity that'll kind of lead us into the beginning of 1D kinematics. That's kind of what we're trying to preview so you guys get an idea of that. Any general questions now? Or specific questions? Say again?
When does this due?
In the other class, I asked people to try to come up with their conclusion of where it'll meet by our next class. I think it's reasonable. I think you guys can do it over the weekend. You have tonight and you have this coming couple days, and then I see you on Monday. I would highly recommend that people don't wait till the last minute here, because that happened already with Pivot, and a lot of people sent me emails this morning, like probably 14 emails, all about Pivot, and no offense, I didn't respond to any on purpose because if you email me the day an assignment is due the morning of, I'm not going to reply. It's never going to happen. So you had 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So the fact that people email me this morning is not a good sign. So I would recommend that you work on it tonight so that when you do have questions, you could ask. Because, for example, I had, I think, only 2 people in office hours yesterday and then 14 emails this morning. So that's a bad sign. So we need to get our work done a little bit sooner. So I'm going to stick with the deadline for this Monday just to push you guys to get your work done a little bit faster. And then you're likely going to have a homework assignment to watch a video over the weekend. I'm going to try to switch to the assignments option on Moodle, on MyOS. I didn't even know you could link it that way. We hadn't been given any instructions. So I'm going to move over the homeworks from the topics into the assignment so you guys can see it like on your calendar. The students in first period recommended that that's a better way to go. So look for that coming up, and I'll try to put a little guideline for what you guys are going to submit for this lab. I'll give you an outline of what I want to see. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I'll be around. So if you want to meet with me later today, or if you have to meet on a video call tomorrow, that's fine. But definitely email me ahead of time to make sure I'm free, and just to set up a time that we could meet on Zoom if you want to. Okay. All right. I'm going to sign off because I got a couple students waiting next door for me right now. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.